Hey guys, welcome back to Based MMA. We have some crazy fight announcements, guys. I did not see this coming. Sunday night, Dana White decides to drop a video on Instagram announcing two huge fights, one for UFC 299, Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis, and he also announced Charles Oliveira versus Armen for UFC 300. And let's start off with Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis because, guys, I absolutely love this fight, guys. I mean, I just my last video was pretty much me saying, because there was a rumor of Benoit Saint-Denis potentially fighting Beneil Dariush for a UFC fight night in March, and I was so against it, man. I was so against it because I thought, one, Beneil Dariush, he's on a losing streak. He's coming off 2 knockout losses, and even though a lot of people overrated Beneil Dariush, if Benoit Saint-Denis goes out there and knocks out Beneil Dariush, it's not as significant because Beneil Dariush would have gone through 2 back-to-back knockout losses. So even though it's a good move up for Benoit Saint-Denis up the rankings to fight somebody like Beneil Dariush, in terms of like really getting a fight that you really want to see and a great matchmaking, it's not that. You know what I'm saying? I like Beneil Dariush. I think he's a good fighter. I never thought he was top of the lightweight division. And I kind of want to see him get a win. I kind of want to see him take some time off and recover and take care of his health and then come back with a easier opponent. You know what I'm saying? Because Benoit Saint-Denis is on a five fight win streak, all by finishes. And props to Dustin Poirier, man, because Dustin Poirier has been getting a lot of flack for not taking these fights that he should have, for not taking fights against contenders. And it seems like, the UFC has convinced him to take this fight against Benoit Saint-Denis, and maybe he feels like Benoit Saint-Denis is such an exciting prospect and it's a fight that really gets him exciting. And let's be honest, I mean, if Dustin Poirier doesn't fight Benoit Saint-Denis, I mean, who truly is he going to fight? I don't think he's going to move up to 170. I think he's realized that he's a little bit too small for 170. I don't think that Nate Diaz fight is going to happen. I don't even think it's a good idea. And I think if Dustin Poirier wants to give himself another chance to potentially fight, maybe get a good win over Benoit Saint-Denis, and then maybe get another win, and maybe he could get another shot at the title. Who knows in this game? You know what I'm saying? It's all about timing when it comes to these title shots and stuff like that. But guys, I absolutely love this. And not only that, not only is it an incredible fight, but Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis is a 5-round co-main event for UFC 299. UFC 299 is looking absolutely stacked. I mean, we got Sean O'Malley versus Oliveira. Now we got Benoit Saint-Denis versus Dustin Poirier as a 5-round co-main event. And then we got Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. Amazing fight. Kevin Holland versus Michael Page. Curtis Blades versus Jalton Almeida. Peter Yan versus Song Yadong. Mateus Gamrot versus RDA. Okay, that's not that great. But, man, UFC 299 is looking absolutely stacked, guys. And there's a small part of me. I'm a little bit cynical because I'm afraid that there's going to be pullouts, man. Because every time we get this amazing card, a card that looks too good to be true, something sketchy ends up happening and there ends up being a lot of pullouts. And there probably is going to be a couple of pullouts, but I pray that the pullouts are not for the fights that we care about. I hope that Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis ends up happening. I hope Peter Yan versus Song Yadong ends up happening. But this is just amazing matchmaking from the UFC. This is just the kind of matchmaking that I want to see in the UFC. Fights that we really didn't think of that are just really exciting for the fans. Put it on these cards, man. Stack these cards. And, man, UFC 298 is looking incredible. UFC 299 is looking incredible. And I'm about to talk about UFC 300 as well. But not only did he announce Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis, a very competitive fight, I think it's a very dangerous fight for Dustin Poirier because Benoit Saint-Denis has good grappling, a good striker, has a lot of power as well. Dustin Poirier is coming off a knockout loss. I mean, I do think Dustin Poirier is better with his boxing, and he does have that 5-round experience that somebody like Benoit Saint-Denis does not have. But Benoit Saint-Denis, I do think he has the grappling in his back pocket if he wants to go there, and he also has a lot of power on the feet. So in terms of a match, man, I mean, I'm not gonna give a prediction here. I think I'm leaning Benoit Saint-Denis, but it's an incredible fight. I absolutely love it. And as a 5-round co-main event of that UFC 299 card, which looked already absolutely stacked, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised they didn't put the Dustin Poirier Benoit Saint-Denis fight for UFC 300, which maybe is a good sign that UFC 300 is going to be a lot better than we're expecting at this point, because I know a lot of fans are kind of disappointed with the way UFC 300 is looking, and there's not a lot of huge fights that could potentially make for UFC 300. But let's talk about the second fight, the second huge fight that Dana White just announced. Charles Oliveira versus Armen Tsarukyan, a #1 contender fight. And in this video, guys, he also mentioned that Islam Makhachev is dealing with an injury and is not going to fight until summertime, and that the winner of this fight is fighting Islam Makhachev in the summer, which, you know what this means? This means that Justin Gaethje is going to fight Max Holloway. It's going to happen, guys. Because why would he say that? You know, I think a lot of us fans, we were kind of expecting Islam Makhachev to perhaps fight Justin Gaethje and then Charles Oliveira versus Armen Tsarukyan. And I thought, okay, maybe they make Islam Makhachev versus Justin Gaethje for March. And then Charles Oliveira or Armen fight the winner maybe later down in the year, maybe late summer, early fall, somewhere like that. So that's kind of what I was expecting. But with Dana White coming out and saying that, no, Islam Makhachev is not going to fight until summer. He's actually dealing with an injury. And Oliveira versus Armen Tsarukyan are going to fight him in the summer. So what about Justin Gaethje? Is he really going to wait until the end of the year? So this means, in my opinion, this kind of implies that Justin Gaethje is going to be fighting Max Holloway, probably for the BMF belt at UFC 300. I already see it coming, guys. He's going to be announcing this on Tuesday. I'm going to be very surprised if I'm wrong. I'm going to be very surprised if Justin Gaethje actually decides to wait this long. But now with Dana White clarifying what's going to be happening in the lightweight division, it just makes a lot of sense now for Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway to end up happening for April. And I know that a lot of fans don't want to see it. I personally thought it always kind of made sense, because Dana White just seemed very adamant on making Oliveira versus Armen Tsarukyan. I mean, Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev too. And I think Oliveira and Armen, they don't want to, they don't want to wait too long. I don't think it's a good idea for Charles Oliveira to wait until summer to fight Islam. It's good for him to fight an Armen Tsarukyan. If he's really as good, I mean, we know Oliveira is good, but if he's able to dismantle Armen Tsarukyan in the first or second round and knock him out or submit him, then that fight against Islam Makhachev in the summer becomes even bigger, right? Because you're like, man, Charles Oliveira has pretty much cleared all of the lightweight division, and the Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev fight is an incredible fight for the future and for whoever's the GOAT of the lightweight division. There's so much at stake if Charles Oliveira is able to beat Armen Tsarukyan, and if Armen Tsarukyan is able to beat Charles Oliveira, then that Armen versus Islam rematch, it's a fresh matchup for Islam Makhachev, which also makes it pretty exciting, guys. But right now, look, I'm a guy that I've always felt that Armen Tsarukyan is a very underrated fighter. I picked him to beat Beneil Dariush. I thought that a lot of people were underestimating Armen Tsarukyan because of the fact that he had a competitive fight against that Brazilian guy. I'm forgetting his name, but he got rocked in the second round. And a lot of people were like, oh, Armen Tsarukyan's not that good. He has pillow hands. Oh, Lucas Tracy, oh, pillow hands, pillow hands. And I thought, look, I get it. This guy's not a knockout artist, but this guy's improving, and he's fast on the feet. He's precise on the feet, and he's very versatile on the feet. Throws amazing body kicks, very fast hands. Yes, he doesn't have crazy power like maybe some of these top lightweights, and also has incredible grappling. You know what I'm saying? Incredible grappling. So I'm very high on Armen Tsarukyan, but I do think Charles Oliveira is gonna end up beating him, guys. I do think Charles Oliveira, one, he's a little bit more powerful on the feet, and I don't know if Armen Tsarukyan has the power to catch Charles Oliveira the way he catch Beneil Dariush, because the way he catch Beneil Dariush, it was like in slow-mo, man. Like, just Beneil Dariush is so slow twitch, and Charles Oliveira is very good in the clinch. He's not gonna get caught by a knee, and Charles Oliveira has an amazing left hook, also has a lot of power. I mean, he dropped Justin Gaethje, so I think Charles Oliveira could hurt him on the feet and could also submit him. So it's gonna be a very tricky fight for Armen Tsarukyan. Do you really want to grapple with this guy and go on the ground with this submission artist? And also on the feet, you have to be scared because Charles Oliveira can hurt you. I mean, Armen Tsarukyan has also shown that, yeah, he could also hurt you on the feet, you know what I'm saying? And Charles Oliveira is a fighter that can get dropped and has been dropped in his last couple of fights, except the Beneil Dariush fight, but prior to that he had been dropped. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is this is beautiful matchmaking. This is the kind of matchmaking we want to see. Two incredible, huge fights. UFC 300, Oliveira versus Tsarukyan. I don't even really care about the main event or co-main event at this point. I'm probably expecting Leon Edwards versus Beneil, Willie versus Alexa Grasso. But the fact that Charles Oliveira is returning against Armen Tsarukyan for a number one contender matchup, that fight is very exciting in its own right. And at this point, guys, you know, remove all your crazy expectations. You know, forget all your crazy expectations for UFC 300 that we had like a couple months ago, maybe a year ago. Now, at this point, I just want a great UFC 300, because at this point, I applaud the UFC because UFC 299 is incredible. UFC 298 is incredible. UFC 297 is not incredible. It's a weak card, but the next three cards after UFC 297 are looking absolutely stacked. Just amazing cards to start off the year. So I applaud them for that. This is amazing matchmaking. I love these fights. I just didn't expect them to announce them today. I thought, okay, maybe they're going to announce them on Tuesday. I didn't expect Dustin Poirier to fight Benoit Saint-Denis. I thought, you know, he's going to come back to fight a Nate Diaz. Maybe a Rafa Fiziev would have made a lot of sense as well. But we know Fiziev is dealing with an injury. But I love these fights, guys. Let me know what you guys think about these matchups. Who do you think is going to win? And like I said, I just hope there's no pullouts, man, because these cards are looking absolutely stacked, guys. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.